Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let's be clear, members. This bill is a backdoor attempt to send women to the back alleys. This isn't about public funding, because there's a provision in here that says that Florida won't recognize a right that's broader than the U.S. Constitution's right. So I know what the front rows are hoping. They're hoping that the Roberts Court will get one more judge to overturn the decision that there's a right to privacy in the U.S. Constitution. And when that happens, then by this very bill, it would say then that there is no right to privacy that includes a woman's right to choose in the Florida Constitution. It would automatically say abortions are banned in the state of Florida. That's what this bill does. This bill is nothing more than a backdoor attempt to send women to the back alleys. And we talk about we want to send things to voters. Let's see what we're sending things to voters. We're sending something that says necessary to save the life of the mother. But the sponsor of the bill refused to define what that was yesterday. Question after question, nobody would define what's to save the life of the mother, because it's not the Hyde Amendment. It's not as broad as the Hyde Amendment. So does that mean a woman has to be on her deathbed? Does she have to be in the surgical room? Does she have to have 2 seconds to live in order to have an insurance company cover the procedure? That's undefined, and the sponsor refused to define it. And we shouldn't be sending things to voters that this body and the sponsor refuses to give some text to the voter to decide what they're voting on. Let's go to the next paragraph. The next paragraph says pregnancies that result from rape and incest. Again, the sponsor refused to say what that meant. Does that mean a court adjudicated rape? Somebody's guilty of rape or incest? Does it mean that somebody walks into the clinic and says, I've been raped? Does it mean that they have to have a police report? This amendment is self-executing. There's no requirement that there be enacting law. And the sponsor refuses to say what that means. So if you believe that there's any right to choose in this state, you should not vote for this amendment. But let's go to the other side. Let's go to the side to where we constantly hear that life begins at conception. That life, and that because life begins at conception, that the state has an automatic duty to protect that life, and that conception, that zygote has the same rights as everyone in this chamber today. Let's go to that side of the argument. I say to you, why would you vote for this bill then? If that's your conscience, if that's what you believe, why are you voting for this bill? Because the sponsor, again, refuses to say what rape and incest mean. It's a self-enacting statute. It could very well mean, and the courts could interpret it to say, that means I just have to come in and say I've been raped. I don't have to have any proof. If you have a conscience, if that's what you really believe, you should vote against this bill. Because why would public dollars take away that thing that you call a life? Is it because leadership's telling you that? Are you going to vote your conscience, or are you going to vote your leadership? Are you going to vote what you believe God is telling you, or are you going to vote your leadership? And I am telling you that if you say, and if you truly believe what you say you believe, that you should vote against this bill. Because it is too wide open for your beliefs on this issue. So unless that you really don't believe what you say you believe, you shouldn't vote for this. So I'm urging you all to take a second and go, what am I going to do? Am I going to listen to a leadership bill, or am I going to say, you know what, I'm going to take a stand of what I believe, and it's different from what I believe, but I'm respecting your beliefs. I'm going to take what I believe in the front rows, and that this bill is too broad of a right for public funding. And you should do that if you believe in that. Because if you don't, then you're just now we're just negotiating. Now, as the old saying goes, now we're just negotiating. So either you do believe it or you don't believe it. And if you do believe it, you should vote down this bill. Now I'm voting it down for another reason. Because I believe women should be respected in this state and should have a right to choose. And I believe we shouldn't put women on their deathbed before we say that an insurance company is going to cover the procedure. And I believe that we shouldn't, by the way, everybody complaining about state rights, why would we ever attach our state constitution to the federal constitution? If you want to talk about state rights, why would you ever do that? Why would we ever attach the state constitution to the federal constitution? So if you believe what you say you believe, even you all should vote down this bill. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.